Hey everyone, I'm excited today because I'm joined by Mathias BOISSONOT. He's the co-founder and CEO of Handprint, not footprints, Handprint. Matthias is a system engineer turned serial green tech and nature tech entrepreneur. He will tell us more about what's green tech and nature tech entrepreneurship. He has spent his career building digital systems that help restore natural ecosystems, providing the infrastructure that allows major banks and fintechs, that's the term, turn everyday financial transactions into tangible impact. Matthias, welcome to the Ghassen Fintech Show.
Thank you for having me, Ghassen.
Sure. Let's start straight there. I mean, come on, first, like a system engineer, now you are a serial entrepreneur, nature tech, banks, fintechs, it's a lot of things that are here, like in theory, they don't fit a lot with each other, but I'm pretty sure you have a good reason they should.
Absolutely. So first of all, we are a fintech in two aspects. In the sense that first, we are in the business of moving money from large corporates to nature, to the ground, to actual work that restores and protects highly critical natural ecosystems. Think of mangrove forests, coral reefs, rivers, critical habitats. So we fund the restoration and the protection of these areas through a global network of NGOs. We deploy impact now in 60 countries globally. So we are a very global platform in a way that's very digitally monitored, etc. So that's the first aspect of how we qualify, I would say, as a fintech. And the second one is more recent for us in terms of go-to-market strategy, I would say, is that we are an engagement technology, we're an engagement platform for banks and fintechs, right? So we are what is called Gen 2 sustainability engagement platform. Gen 1 being, probably you remember in the past 5 years, all banks have deployed these features around carbon footprint, carbon offsetting, all of that. It has quite failed in a way to engage users, right? Banks spent millions deploying these features in your mobile banking, and no one was really using it. I've seen some quite dramatic data about that in terms of usage. And also the other aspect is banks now spend more time defending these programs than actually benefiting from them. So they're all phasing out from this Gen 1 carbon footprinting, carbon offsetting, those are carbon compensation programs, and we have developed Gen 2, which is nature contribution programs, more engaging for users, especially Gen Z and affluent customers, and also more scientifically valid, I would say.
I'm just curious, why I'm pretty sure you have the data. Like, why did that not work? I mean, it's not about the investment that went into that. So there is something kind of systemic that made it not work, right?
Yeah, there are a few answers to that. My co-founder Ryan actually wrote a paper about what's working, and the implication is what's not working. This scientific paper, actually won best paper of the year 2-3 years ago from the Financial Times. So I can send you the link, but in summary, it's basically with a carbon footprinting, carbon offsetting is a corporate framework. It's amazing for corporates. It's how corporates work, but it's not how people understand what sustainability is. If you tell me what 20 kilo of carbon is and how my choice of a coffee versus a tea have a different impact of 20 kilo of carbon, I don't relate to that. So it's really about emotional engagement. There is nothing. It's pure abstraction, which works for corporates. That's how corporates, corporates have a P&L of carbon, an abstract P&L of carbon that they're trying to compensate. That's how they work. For people, allocating them the blame of telling them, hey, you purchased this, it's 50 kilograms of carbon, it is not engaging, right? So this constant allocation of blame, of guilt, in a way, is not engaging, and it's too abstract, right? And the data that we have, especially in Southeast Asia, is amazing. When you start talking to people about nature instead of sustainability, because many professionals in the industry are right. The data shows that people don't care about sustainability, but it's a framing. It's actually not true because it's a framing problem. When you ask people, do you care about sustainability, carbon, and all of that? No, they don't care. But when you start asking them about, do you care about nature? Do you care about clean rivers? Do you care about thriving coral reefs, etc., which is actual sustainability, then you have really a spike in engagement, and those are the things that we are doing. So from carbon compensation, where it's about guilt, about allocating blame to the user, and only focusing on carbon, towards nature contribution programs, where it's about collective action. This month, we have a global objective of reaching this nature target. Let's do it together, rather than individual small carbon targets. And it's a completely game changer in terms of how, in terms of user behavior, how these things drive engagement. We've measured an increase of 875% increase, so by 9, factor 9, on a leading digital bank in Southeast Asia from our ocean program, a nature contribution program, versus their legacy carbon footprinting program. So it's a magnitude difference, and users just resonate more emotionally with this Gen 2 program.
Super interesting. So you're like, in my simple terms, I'm not that educated about this topic. It's like you're basically shifting the prospects from guilt to kind of pleasure. Like on one side, like, hey, because of this action, I feel bad, so okay, let me pay or do whatever engagement. And the other one is like, thanks to this action, I am helping the ocean, I'm helping the planet, and so on. So it's kind of a change of perspective, what I'm hearing from your side. Interesting.
Absolutely, and that's the name of the platform, right? Handprint is a scientific term that describes the sum of your positive impact as opposed to your footprint, which is the sum of your negative impact, right? Your handprint is what you can do with your hands. Rather, your footprint is what you leave behind a little bit because because you're just walking, you just leave it behind. Yet you have your hands, so you can actually do something, right? So it's actually the scientific term that we are using for our technology platform. Yeah.
It's super interesting because, for example, in my business at NCB, we use footprints because we don't identify the end user. So we know footprints. So I never thought about it like, okay, so you're leaving, so it's kind of negative in a way from this perspective. No, it's clear. I'm just curious, like, why do banks and fintechs and financial services care more about this for their customers than any other verticals? I know you mentioned to me that you also did other verticals, other industries on that, but it feels like fintechs, financial services, banks are more like interested and sticky with this.
That's a very important question. I would say it's because data that banks have shows that two very attractive customer segments highly resonate with this type of programs. It's Gen Z. I think it sounds sensible. And the second one that might be a little bit more surprising is affluent customers. And the data is very clear on this, especially in global north countries. Affluent customers highly resonate with that, and because they are an important acquisition target for banks, they really all compete on that acquisition target. Now with the rise of digital banking, neobanks, and consumer fintech, the race is getting very intense for consumer fintechs and banks. Mechanically, in 20 years, if today legacy banks are not able to acquire this Gen Z target, this generation, in 20 years they don't have so much more deposit on their bank account, on their in their business, because this generation is inheriting from the largest wealth transfer in history. So it's a race. It's really a race for them to acquire this target in the next 10 years. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is not just theory. You mentioned to me that you recently rolled out a major program with quite a sizable player, and you have numbers that are not only backing this, but I think, yeah, please share with the audience, because when you told me those numbers, I was like, damn, this is good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we're super proud because we launched this new product. It's a easily deployable ocean program for a bank that can deploy in just a day an engagement platform for the ocean, and we've deployed that into DBS Bank in their mobile banking, Live Better, which is their sustainability mobile banking, and we're super happy because they engage. There are millions of users really with stories about their global coral reef forest, their mangrove forest that's really all over the world. That's accessible. So we have an interactive map in the app that we have integrated into this product, where users can zoom through the map and see where the corals are, who planted them, the faces of the humans behind these projects, before after pictures about the corals, how really their loyalty points or their cash or their cashback has been making a difference in the world in a very tangible way, and also in a very, I would say, in a very storytelling way, right? Because that's what brings value, is that story. And when users receive a notification saying, hey, a black tip shark came back to your reef this morning, look at the picture, and they click, and the bank can use that to engage users and increase very tangible business KPIs, like callback to platform, in-app engagement, referral, time spent on the app, etc. So those are business metrics that we push inside the app, because the bank, really, that's the reality. The bank does not have a mandate to do good. Right? It's not their mandate. We should not expect from them to do good, right? And so our mission is to make it a no-brainer for the bank to do good because it brings them money, right? So that's our mission, and that's what we are doing with these programs.
Interesting. I mean, with this data, I'm pretty sure you know something about the consumer behavior that is kind of like not known in the market, right? Because you're seeing, be it related to sustainability and other aspects, but you're seeing people moving inside those apps. What are you seeing there that not everyone knows? What's anecdotal? What is something that you can add to the audience here? Or like, okay, you thought this, but actually what is happening is absolutely different.
Yeah. So that's very interesting because it's really core to our repositioning. For 5 years, we tried to sell to banks like nature programs and all of that, until we realized in the data how crazy people were reacting to topics around the ocean, specifically the ocean, right? When you talk about plastic pollution on the beach, clean rivers, endangered species of turtle dying and or disappearing and so on. These topics were highly engaging compared to carbon that's a bit abstract, and it's like 2 degrees by 2000 and in 80 years. It's very abstract, and when we see the data, everyone in the industry think, okay, end users don't care about sustainability. We tried, it doesn't work. But it's, as I was saying before, it's a matter of framing, and the data is incredible about the ocean. And so that's something that's not enough spread out in the industry. The word is not out there yet, and it's also our mission to spread that word, because after 7 years of carbon everywhere, from the corporate side to customer-facing sides, what we've seen is that we think we've cracked the problem in a very different ways by doing ocean-based regeneration. It's highly charismatic. Imagine like a picture, a before-after picture of a colorful reef You know, it is much more charismatic than saying 20 kilo of carbon has been absorbed. Thank you for offsetting your carbon footprint. You know, it's tangible, it's engaging, it has a story, because it has a story of ever growing, right? Once you restore 1 square meter of reef, this reef is gonna grow. It's gonna have life coming. It's gonna have news, right? It's a little story by itself, right? And we capture that story on a weekly basis, so we can engage users for years. Just because they spend 2 points or 10 points of loyalty on restoring a square meter, for years they will have news about the turtle coming back to their reef, or a new milestone that has been achieved in that reef, etc. So yeah, that I would say is the biggest blind spot in the industry, is when you talk to chief, head of card programs, product, growth, customer programs, the people that are buying our technology, they almost always say, yeah, we love what you guys do, but we think our users don't care about sustainability. And we say, you're right, but they highly care about the ocean. And we can demonstrate it.
That might be a bit too personal. So why do you care about it?
Yeah, actually, I was personally, I have a very intimate relationship with the ocean, I would say. I grew up in French Polynesia, in Tahiti, and currently I live in Bali for the past 4 years, where we have a small office for Handprint. The team at Handprint is based in Singapore and Bangkok, mostly, Tokyo as well. Myself, I'm based in Bali because I surf, I try to surf every morning. And so I have this relationship with the ocean that's really, I dive as well. For me it has a special place. It's just completely absent of the bigger corporate debate that stays very framework oriented, very carbon oriented, and we completely skip the honey of it, which is all of the emotions that it can create. And unfortunately, we cannot create emotions with abstract tons of carbon, but we can create emotions with colorful, thriving reefs full of turtles and sharks and clean rivers and so on.
A special place.
Absolutely, yeah. And also it has a good story because the ocean, or ultimately the water, connects all people on Earth, right? It's not like a land forest that's a highly localized ecosystem, right? We are living on a blue planet, right? Every coast, everything, the ocean connects everything, every human being there is on the planet. It also nourishes every human being on the planet. So it is also what creates the most oxygen, much more than forest. More than half of the oxygen is created by phytoplanktons in the ocean. So we completely underestimate its value and its importance as an infrastructure for society to exist, right? Because just if life in the ocean disappears, we can launch banks and fintechs, but all of this actually sits on an infrastructure that is called nature, and without nature there is nothing like this. So it is also the responsibility of the industry to protect it beyond regulation that's not going fast enough. And so our role again is to make it a no-brainer for banks to invest in nature, because they have a financial interest in doing so, in the form of user acquisition, user engagement, pure business KPIs, right? We're making investing in nature valuable.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think this exchange does not deserve another question because what you were just mentioning, it's just amazing. And at the end of the day, as you said, you make it simple, easy, a no-brainer to invest in nature. And it looks like it has an ROI with your customers. So glad we had this exchange. I hope this adds some ideas, thoughts, value to our listeners. Thank you again, Mathias, for joining us. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you for the invitation.